Chapter 11. Will I ever return? Fields of bustling woods with towering trunks of trees surrounded me. I could hear the bubbling waters of a nice stream that flowed down from a distant mountain. The soft breeze was kissing my face gently, bearing the refreshing fragrance of different kinds of blossoms and the faint scent of grass. As I walked, I was observing the vibrant colours of wilderness, the likes of which I had never set my eyes on before, yet I was not at all amazed. It was as I had always envisioned. I was slowly approaching the river, and as I got closer, my throat got drier, and so grew my thirst. I descended the steep bank to the river and bent down to grasp a handful of water when I noticed my hazy picture on its winding surface. I started to focus on the reflection, only to realize that I had aged. I looked much older than I last remembered, and the more I stared at my face, the more I was aging, and the wrinkles on my face appeared deeper. "Bot!" I heard someone from afar calling my name. "Bot!" It kept repeating. I did not understand what was happening or who would know me or call my name in such a wild place. "Bot!" The voice recurred, calling for me repeatedly. The air was thick, and with every call it grew thinner, and the sound drew nearer. It became closer and sharper. The more apparent it got, the more my reflected image on the water's surface disappeared, and I could no longer feel the breeze that carried the scents of flowers. Yes, I was waking up, the same dream I used to have for days whenever I fell asleep. I'd seen it since Elo and I had this conversation at my apartment when I apprised him of my approval to execute the mission to Earth. My alarm went off, announcing that my meeting with Elo and his team was almost 1 hour ahead. I used to meet them regularly to learn everything I needed to know about the task at hand. At first, they filled me in with an introduction about the destination, the Earth and the solar system it occupied, its atmosphere, and the separating distance between us. Then they introduced the trip itself, the ship, its operation, and its maintenance. Things that I thought were arduous, but after I learned the other challenging duties on my shoulder, they turned out to be the easiest. They informed me about the experiments I would have to conduct, the obstacles I might face there on Earth, and how to overcome them. But the worst was the succession, the shifting between day and night, and how one could experience both in the same place. That was the most complicated thing I had to learn, let alone at least understand. The one significant difference between Proxima-b and Earth was our planet's retarded spin rate compared to Earth's, causing our conventional synchronous rotation. That was exasperating for me to imagine rather than to experience. I mean, how could a planet spin that quickly without having things falling down or apart? Would people get dizzy? Earthlings could stay still in the same place, and the time would change around them, shifting from day to night and back. They never needed to segregate and adjust their lives or activities. Almost every single spot on Earth exhibits both day and night successively. They move from one place to another only if needed, not as a life necessity. A day followed by night, then another day, a season following another season, switching between warmth and coolness regularly. Earthlings stated in their books that this change was healthy for their bodies, maintaining their mental stability. Thereof, people could enjoy all their time in the same place without having to travel repeatedly from a warm day region to a cold night one. To me it made more sense, and I could not agree more, especially with the sick and old, who could not regularly move. Anyway, I started learning all these differences and how to use the Earthling's calendar, an intricate one opposed to ours. A year comprised a few months, several weeks, and about 365 days, a much longer one than ours of the 11 days. That sounded a bit confusing until I got used to it, and eventually I believed I did. That was why I practiced using these terms with my group in our communications exchange. The purpose was to get us accustomed to them before I arrived there. I even practiced with Kay, who got involved in most of these details. With her, I shared everything against the strict non-disclosure agreement. I could never hide anything from her, because that was something I would never tolerate if she did. Soon the training finished and all was set for me to start my venture. My worries shifted to Kay. She was so troubled since I informed her of what was happening and the plan to travel to Earth. She was bewildered, and that was tearing me apart. The last thing I would ever want was to hurt her or put her in pain, yet I had no choice, and she knew that. Now I was fully aware that it was about a 24-year trip to planet Earth, which somehow was close to 9 months in the Earthling calendar. Thanks to advanced technology that helped us travel with a speed closer to 6 times that of light, and unquestionably it would take another 9 for the journey back. I was surprised to find out how long I needed to stay there until I finished my task. This may be why I kept seeing this dream. Perhaps it was my subconsciousness notifying me that I would spend a lifetime there, or mayhap I would perish there. Yes, there might never be a journey back,